What's up, YouTube? Tony Cuts here with another haircut for y'all. We got Chris Maletti back in the chair for another one. And in my first YouTube video ever, I did a shape up on Chris. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and press the notification bell. Keep up with all the content that I'm going to be dropping this summer. You don't want to miss it. So for this cut, I'm doing a nice tight mid skin fade on Chris. And I'm starting the cut out with my BABYLISS custom FX trimmers, and I'm setting in this first guideline. The first guideline is my skin guideline. Underneath that, I'm taking everything to skin, all in that entire section from the skin line down. I call that my skin section. And once that section's all taken down to skin, nice and bald, I'm going to take my ANDIS masters with no guard on it. I'm going to open it all the way up, and I'm going to create a second guideline, a second section about an inch to an inch and a half wide. And for this cut, this tutorial, I'm just doing this side of my fade, and then I'm going to work my way around the head. I'm breaking the whole entire fade around the head into zones, while also breaking my fade into sections. Right now, I'm just cleaning up that second section, which is my fade section. And after that, I'm working into my third section, creating my third guideline with my ANDIS masters and my 2 guard on it. I got the 2 guard on it, and I'm setting in my foundation section. The foundation section is the section of the fade going around the head that blends into the top of the head and also into the bottom, into the fade section, which is my half section. As you can see here, we got 3 lines now, 4 sections. Let's start taking these lines out now. The first line that I'm going to remove is the bulk line from the top. I just set in my foundation section with my 2 guard, so the 2 guard is already on my clipper. I'm just taking my comb now. I'm combing up under the hair in that bulk line, basically just giving my clipper an extra guard, an extra space between the blade and the hair. So instead of taking my 2 guard off and putting my 3 guard, I just took my comb and clipper over combed with my guard to lighten that bulk up. You can see there, I closed it as well to really just smooth it out. Now for this second line, starting with my blade open and the 1 guard on it, and I'm flicking that line that separates the foundation from my half section. And remember, the half section is that section below my foundation section. So we're blending that line out between the foundation section and my half section. Basically the mid portion of this fade. You just keep on flicking that second line and just keep on flicking, keep flicking and flicking until that line slowly starts to fade away. Still just with my 1 guard, opening, flicking, lightening the line up, and then closing, flicking that same line. And you'll even see me use my comb to clipper over comb into that 2 section with my 1 guard. Just giving it an extra little guard, extra little space to feather into the next higher section easier. I then take my wall and I'm using the 1 clip on there. With my 1 clip, I'm just feathering and lightening the rest of that line between the foundation section and my half section. Once that line's nice and faded out, I'm gonna then remove the 1 guard and start erasing that last line. The last line is my skin line. Now this section, in my opinion, is one of the most important sections of the fade. The half section blends into the skin. It also blends up into the foundation. So to me, it's a very big, important portion of the fade. So I'm always starting with my clipper all the way open. I'm flicking up into that half section, trying to lighten the skin line that I created with my trimmers. As you keep fading and flicking that same section, you're going to keep closing the lever and hitting the line lower and lower until your blade is all the way closed and you are lifting that bottom skin line out. You should be flicking directly into that bottom skin line when you have your clipper closed, and making sure you're flicking. Always flick. And when you're done, add some detail in there with your ANDIS masters. Open, closed, and even throw the 0 guard on there for extra detail. Now, I use my ANDIS masters for more detail because the ANDIS masters have a crunch to it when you cut the hair. So I can hear everything that I'm cutting, and it just makes everything a lot more accurate. I know exactly what I'm cutting. I can even hear it. So when I'm doing that small detail work, I'm flicking very delicately, very gently to hit exactly where I want. I want to be able to hear it. With the walls, you're not going to be able to hear it. So that's why I use ANDIS masters when I detail my fade. It's the part of the fade that you're adding detail to. It's very specific. You don't want to mess it up. Now, I'm shaping him up now, but I'm not going to get too deep and detailed into this shape up because I already have a shape up video with Chris's hair. So there's no point in really getting too into depth with this, but I'm basically just lining up his beard line. I always start with the corners of the beard on the jawline, right below the earlobe. I start with that, and then as you've seen, I shaped his C cup up. But this is a fade tutorial, so we're back on the other side, and I just straightened up that skin line from around the back all the way to the other side of his head. I'm just straightening that skin line out, and I'm going to continue the half section around the rest of the head. With my ANDIS masters, per usual, I got them all the way open, and I'm flicking that half section in all the way around the head. And then I'm going to set my foundation section as well, all the way around the head. 2 easy steps that I would normally do all in the very beginning, but I wanted to break this tutorial down and really show you how I fade each zone of the head. You see me fade the entire first zone, which was the other side. So now I am just blending that foundation section up into the top with my 3 guard. That 3 guard is an Auster 3 guard. It's a black 3 guard that has a smoother top to it. It doesn't have a very sharp top piece, like the teeth don't stick out as much as the normal ANDIS 3 guard. I don't really like the normal ANDIS 3 guard, so I use that. Now I'm just cleaning up my half section and my foundation. After I just blended all that in, I set the sections in there relatively quick, and then I go back to really even everything out. You want to make sure that all your guidelines and all your sections are even running through the entire head. You don't want one part of your fade to be lower or another part of your fade higher, unless you're doing a drop fade, which in here it's slightly dropped, but not too much. Now, you see I ran through, I set in my sections, and now I'm fading them sections out. I set in my foundation and I set in my half section. Now, I'm just going back with my 1, working my way back down, all the way back around the head to the back here, and I'm just using my 1 guard to fade that line out that separates fade section and my foundation. Now I'm on the opposite side of the fade. You see me do the other side of the fade. Now I'm just doing the same exact thing to all 3 other zones of this fade. Don't forget, you can break these sections down. You can make these sections as even as possible. If you don't have a gentle flick and finesse with your hands, you will not get these lines out, and you won't get it as blurry as this. It's a lot of detail in these fades. And don't get it confused. This cut took longer than 15 minutes or 16 minutes, however long the tutorial is. It took longer than that. I'm just speeding this up and running through the main steps I take and showing you where I put the detail. You have to figure out and learn for yourself how it feels to flick the clipper like that, to use the corner of your blade to really get in them sections and split grains to create smoother gradients. Right now I'm doing the shape up. I got my razor in hand, and as always I start by razoring down the line. On the other side of this cut, I actually didn't razor down the line first. I just went right against the hair. Doing that, I actually caused some of the hairs to pull, and it caused a little bit of blood to come out of his pores. Sometimes it won't always bleed, sometimes it'll just turn out a little red and irritated. To avoid that, I always shape up going down the line first, then I'll take my razor and I will shape it up, scraping the skin, scraping them stubbles to the line to make that line razor sharp. As always, I razor my beard dry, and then I take the excess hair off of the cheeks with my trimmers, and I completely get it bald with the shaver. After that, my fade's looking tight, shape up's looking sharp, and I'm adding my Claim 13 texture powder to give his hair a nice volumized look, nice and textured, make it look a little dry almost. The texture powder is really good for a dry look. And this is the complete fade, guys. I'm using my style comb to comb the hair in the direction I want it to go, and as you can see from the back where his growth pattern is, it all grows in a circular direction around his entire head, and it just leaves for a good style. Now here's my fade, nice and even all the way around the nape of the head, going into the side. The sides are nice and smooth, nice and blended. All the hair on the top sits correctly and nice, blending into the foundation as well. So this is it. That's how I do my mid skin fades. If you guys found this video helpful in any way, please throw a comment down there. Let me know what you guys want to see more of, what the next haircut you want to see, and press that subscribe button on your way out. I appreciate every one of you who have subscribed. This video should put me at 100 subscribers, which means it's giveaway time. So the next video you see from me will be a giveaway video. I look forward to that, and I'll see y'all then.